Well, I'm a f***ing nerd. I love video games, books, movies, manga, browsing Facebook for Lord of the Rings memes, and bidets. I just love a good story when it comes to the media I consume, one that I can connect with regardless of the media type that it's delivered through. There was a movie that came out when I was in high school. I went to the movie theaters and I saw it twice, and immediately fell in love with it. The Edge of Tomorrow, starring Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise. I love this movie. I love the characters. I love the plot. I love how they tell the story. And the fact that this is like a video game is even more appealing to me. I didn't realize that this was based off of a light novel called All You Need Is Kill, which has a manga adaptation with the same title called All You Need Is Kill. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know there was a light novel until I did research for this video. Oops. Well, you already saw the title of this video. No, I'm not going to be comparing the light novel to either of these because I've never read it. Maybe one day. This is All You Need Is Kill manga versus movie. And yes, I'm going to be spoiling the absolute teats out of both of these. You've been warned. The Edge of Tomorrow opens up with us learning about a war that is going on around the world against aliens. We hear about suit jackets that are exosuits, and because of these suits, a super soldier named Rita Vertasky was able to kill tons of mimics in her first fight. She is a badass. Her illustrious one-day combat career grants her the title of the Full Metal Bitch, played by none other than my crush, Emily Blunt. Our story starts in London, where we meet the boy William Cage, who isn't a soldier and is ordered to head into battle to fight with real soldiers. He's super scared and tries to puss out, and even tries to blackmail the general. He gets arrested and tased and wakes up on the military base. He tries to get out of the fight, but doesn't, and then we learn about J-Squad. Throughout the show, especially in the beginning, there are lots of little lines that foreshadow what is to come, like this line.
Tomorrow morning you will be baptized, born again.
PT, 10 minutes.
We quickly see the jacket suits that they fight in, and they're super cool, honestly. Side note, these suits are practical and pretty heavy, weighing upwards of 80 plus pounds. The mimic designs are also super rad and very creepy, especially the way that they move around and whatnot. Right off the bat, we see how amazing the visual effects are, and throughout the entire show. Cage and the soldiers head into battle, and then some shit immediately hits the fan, and they are ambushed even though the enemy wasn't supposed to know they were coming. Cage sees lots of his squad die, and is just trying to survive this bloodbath. He finds a blue mimic, he grabs a bomb, and he blows it up. Its blood leaks all over him, and he dies, waking up on the bags the day before and is freaked out with no idea what is going on. Jumping over to the manga actually stars a different main character named Kaiji Kirya, who dreams that he died. He has lots of deja vu throughout the day and can almost predict what is going to happen next. Rita Vertasky is still the main badass chick. There are some differences right off the bat aside from just the story. The suits they fight in aren't an exosuit, but almost like a Spartan armor from Halo. The mimic designs are way different as well. They are more of a circular type of alien with teeth as opposed to the weird tentacle things in the movie. I prefer the movie designs, but the ball mimics are creepy to say the least. The teeth really give the aliens an uncanny look. Rita uses a big battle axe in the manga, which is a lot cooler in my opinion compared to her sword in the movie. After the first few minutes of entering battle, Kai dies and the day resets. He died twice and doesn't want to go through the death experience again. The manga explores a little more on how the death experience is traumatic and affects Kai. His actions still affect the world that he lives in, like for example when he skips training. He runs away and meets an old man and daughter and watched them die by mimics, and then he quickly dies right after. He wakes up freaking out and grabs a gun and blows his brains out. This scene was wild. The manga hits the ground running and gets you sucked into the headspace of what a person may go through if they were stuck on repeat and couldn't die. Kai finally accepts where he is and what's going on. Another cool detail that the manga does a better job of is keeping track of how many loops or lives that Kai has lived by writing on the back of his hand. Each life he improves his skills and learns more on how to fight, and this in turn increases his chances of survival, just like a video game. Back to Cage's second day, he tries to tell everyone that tomorrow is a slaughter and they are all going to die. He lives who knows how many lives at this point trying to figure out what is happening to him and how to get out of the loop. He finds Rita and she knows something is up because of how Cage is fighting and predicts exactly where the mimics will be. She gives up and tells Cage to find her when he wakes up. Throughout the subsequent loops and lives, there are lots of comedic bits mixed in to reinforce the video game concept and how dying isn't that big of a deal for Cage as he goes on. That being said, it still affects him mentally, and we see how it wears him down as the movie progresses. Cage finds Rita and learns about his power, the enemy's power, and the Omega, and how it controls time. Their whole goal at this point is to win the war by finding the Omega and killing it, while using its own power against it. There is a way for Cage to get out of the never-ending loop, but Rita wants to use Cage to get to the Omega and save humanity. If Cage doesn't die and gets a blood transfusion, the power will be lost for good. Keep in mind, Cage has to do the same things over and over again to get back to the specific points. This has to be mentally grueling. Alright, think about playing a video game and you forgot to save, or the checkpoint is bad and you have to spend minutes getting back to where you were. Now, instead of repeating minutes of work and time, imagine repeating days. And you were the only person on planet Earth that remembers anything. This type of storytelling is interesting, but with the downside of we only get character progression and development for the main character because nobody else remembers anything and the day just repeats. Cage goes through battle after battle with Rita, he trains all the time and develops into a capable badass super soldier, but at the cost of seeing her die over and over and over again. I enjoy the storytelling and how they show the audience different parts of the same day, as well as showing us how Cage's actions still affect the world that he is in. Cage slowly falls in love with Rita because he's spending an ungodly amount of time with her, so I mean, who wouldn't fall in love with someone at that point? The real question is how many times has he seen her die? This farm scene is one that hit me really hard. Rita and the audience don't know if Cage is lying or not, because this is our first time seeing it and it just hits you. Warner Oni-chan said no, so I'll just tell you about this scene. This coffee scene is really good because it draws from the original, which had its own chapter name and is kind of a big deal. They both play out very differently, but revolve around coffee. Rita catches Cage because he knew she likes 3 sugars in her coffee, and asks Cage where the keys are to the helicopter out front. Cage tells her if she flies, she dies, and this is the farthest she ever goes. He is a broken man who has gone through this specific scenario who knows how many times.
I wish I didn't know you. But I do.
Jumping back to the manga, Kai learns about the 5 rules for the loop, and becomes an awesome soldier. He wants a weapon that doesn't run out of ammo, so he talks to this girl named Shasta who personally worked on Rita's axe. He also breaks down his schedule of what he does every single day to get the stuff he needs. As the story progresses and Kai continually dies, we see the toll it has on him because he keeps the memories from each loop. We then get a peek into Rita's backstory, which isn't something we really get in the movie. Her parents died when she was younger, so she then joined the force to fight. We find out that she knows about the loops and was in them as well, going through 211 before she finally figured out that tachyon particles are what triggers the time loops. Apparently her and Kai's brains were able to tap into it somehow. I definitely prefer how they go about getting the power to loop in the movie. Kai finds Rita and she starts crying because she knows she has found someone that has gone through the same mental anguish that she went through and can talk about it. There are some very heartfelt moments between these two as they talk and have genuine human interactions. Thinking about it, the other NPCs' lives are kind of meaningless for how many times Kai has probably seen them die. There is a final battle where the mimics attack the base. The epic fight is led by Kai and Rita, where we see them put the smash on tons of mimics. We learn about the server mimic that, once the antenna is destroyed, ends the loop for Kai. It turns out Kai and Rita are both servers as well, so only one can live to end the loops. These two have a heartbreaking battle. Rita loses and is dying. Kai wants to save her, but she says, "Do you really want to wake up every day to a Rita that doesn't remember you?" The loops are over and Rita Vertasky is dead. We learn that she wore red to attract attacks and stand out. Kai decided to wear sky blue, the best color ever, because it was her favorite color. The mimics are still out there and the war still rages on. Killer Cage? William Cage? Very nice. I've got to say, as melancholy of the ending as this is, I definitely prefer it over the movie's ending. Cage finds the Omega, but is wounded in the process and received a blood transfusion. He is pissed because his time looping power is now gone. Cage and Rita convince J-Squad to head with them into battle in France to kill the Omega and end the war. They can't kill any alphas because the day would then reset and the enemy will know they are coming. So if they see any, they just have to take one for the team. This whole ending act is really cool and the VFX are amazing. The whole squad dies except Cage and Rita, who make it to the area where the Omega is. She says she wishes she could have gotten to know him better, and yet he knows a lot about her, and you can see it in his eyes.
You're a good man, Cage.
cage kills the Omega and its blood engulfs him and the day resets. This is a very cop-out ending and doesn't really make any sense to me. Does he now have the power still, even though the source of the power is dead? Apparently they didn't have a set ending and only finished it during the principal photography. They wanted to focus on the comedic aspects and opted for a more resolute, happy ending for the audience. It's fine, I guess, this just isn't as satisfying. The title had been changed around a lot too. It was going to have the same name as the novel, but they didn't know if the word kill in the title would be good. It was then changed to Edge of Tomorrow, and then for the home DVD release to Live Die Repeat in hopes that they could rebrand and hype it up. It didn't do too bad as far as the box office goes, but it was considered underperforming with a worldwide total of $370.5 million earned. Both mediums tell fun stories and focus on different aspects. The manga focuses on ending the loops rather than killing all the mimics, while the movie focuses on using the power to end the war and save humanity. Both do a good job of comparing to video games, as well as how taxing a death loop can be on the human mind. Aside from the ending of the movie, I really enjoyed the story overall. It's an interesting take on the Groundhog Day premise, and it's just a fun ride. The visuals are awesome, the characters are great, and the storytelling is novel to me. The manga is great too. It tells a bit of a different story, but has the same concept. I've always said if there is an anime or movie that follows the manga or book well enough, I would prefer to watch it. Seeing the story come to life is always more exciting to me. You get a visual representation of what's happening, as well as an auditory experience to immerse you into the world. Of course, books and manga are fun, and I love reading, but watching a fight scene and explosions is way more exciting to me than reading about it. In this case, I still do prefer the movie, but there's a lot that I left out of both of these, so if you haven't, do yourself a favor and read All You Need Is Kill and watch The Edge of Tomorrow. Live, Die, Repeat. Just go watch it and read it. You won't regret it. So stupid. Edge of Tomorrow. Live, Die, Repeat. Live, die, and eat. Ball.